Cape Suzette is the home of Captain Baloo and his faithful companion, Kit Cloudkicker. One day visiting Louie's place, Louie convinces Baloo that he has an adventure of a lifetime, which includes finding ancient pieces of a mysterious symbol. Well, faster than you can say, "Spin it!" our heroes are off and flying. TaleSpin on the TurboGrafx is based on the Disney cartoon, very similar to Darkwing Duck, which came later. In fact, here's a quick reminder of what I thought about that game. What the f***? What the hell? Damn it, son of a f*** you. Yeah, well, Darkwing the Show, on the other hand, was one of my favorites, and TaleSpin before it was also a must-watch as a kid. So, does this fare better as a game? Well, TaleSpin begins with a pleasing rendition of the show's main theme. After reading the story, you get to choose one of 4 initial stages, which you can play in any order. Each of these is a side-scrolling action game where you control Baloo, defeat enemies, and fight a boss. Baloo can attack in various ways, even diagonally, and has a specific weapon for each stage, like coconuts, snowballs, or air hoses. Each of the 4 stages also includes certain items collected for bonus points if you get the required amount, such as feathers, ice bars, pearls, and propellers. You can also find points, and look, they are literally points, as well as invincibility shields, extra lives, and more. Once you defeat a stage and collect a piece of the symbol, Kit sky surfs and is allowed to pick up bonuses. You can get a few different things here, including the C, which will increase continues, and one I highly recommend aiming for. This part is a little funky to control, but I guess somewhat realistic? Baloo has a damage meter at the bottom left, and every hit knocks it down. Once the notches are all gone, Baloo bounces off the screen and will start back at a specific checkpoint. A lot of times you will just find yourself back at the beginning, and this really bites. When all initial lives are lost, you can continue up to 3 times, unless you grab those C's during sky surfing stages. When you continue, you start back at the stage you are currently on and cannot choose another. After collecting the initial pieces, Louie says that the treasure is up. So up you go. The game temporarily turns into a shooter. Wow, could he be a bigger target? It will take a few tries to get the patterns down and avoid enough bullets to pass this stage. Then the pieces drop out of the plane and Lil Britches takes over to get them back. He can run around and float down to collect pieces, but has no real means of attack. I have to give TaleSpin some credit for changing things up a bit in the game's second half. Finally, you take the reins as Baloo once again for the final stage. The colors on this game are very bright and vibrant, although a lot of the stages appear darker than you would think. The characters, much like in Darkwing, look pretty good, and some are nice representations of their cartoon counterparts. Baloo has good animation, and there are nice foreground effects. Once you see the game in person, you notice that things aren't really all that well drawn, especially in the backgrounds, but I always thought the graphics in this game were rather pleasing. The music tracks are okay and varied, and at least there are many of them. The sound effects are passable, but honestly they're pretty underwhelming. This collecting points sound gets repetitious pretty quick. Now, a glaring problem we all kind of knew was coming. Bad control. Sometimes it takes Baloo a second to wind up a shot after you press button 2, so if enemies are coming fast, you're screwed. It is best to just have really no strategy and fire away at all times. Baloo's jump with button 1 is delayed. It is very specific and unforgiving and not as smooth as it should be. Look, That was my very first jump of the entire game. Eventually you will get better at the timing, and I actually found flipping the turbo switches up helps with some trickier jumps. Okay, oops. Alright, maybe a little sooner. Alright, a little sooner still. There we go. Take care of this guy. And, oh, come on. Alright, we'll go right to the edge. Seriously. Okay. Okay. Yes! No! I hate to make this comparison too often because TaleSpin and Darkwing Duck are two different kinds of games. But the problems with both are very similar. The lousy controls mixed with just stupid things that happen. For example, in the ice caverns, you can't touch the icicles. I get that. But you can't touch the ceiling either? Why? When the next stage begins, the game doesn't have the courtesy to replenish your life. Why? You also have barely any recovery time, so you take constant damage over and over and over. What? I mean, why? Most of the bosses are just attack, attack, attack. There's not much else really involved. In this game, you'll spend more time figuring out how to master the quirks than you will strategizing a way to get through a stage. Now, I know I'm coming down on this game pretty hard during the back end of this review, but it's mostly just out of disappointment. I mean, I kind of like it, and it has some redeeming value. The graphics are nice, and the various missions are interesting. In fact, I feel it is a little better than Darkwing Duck, although some would say it's the other way around. To me, Darkwing has less variety, less stages, less music, and it came out later, so it should have known better. But I can't recommend either of them, because Disney on the TurboGrafx just disappoints. I do have some nice memories of playing TaleSpin as a kid, but it doesn't change the fact that it is a below-average game. There are some good aspects, but the negatives outweigh the positives. I know TaleSpin on the NES was no masterpiece, but I have to say, Capcom, these Disney games on the TurboGrafx, we really could have used you.